Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today on Bikinis After Babies. I am so excited to bring you this episode, but of course, first, I am your host, Mandy Rochon, here with your other beautiful blonde host.
Hi, everybody. This is Gillian Hughes. I'm so excited for today's episode. I have just been counting down the minutes all week. As you can see, if you're watching us, you can see we have a beautiful, amazing guest with us today. And for those of us listening at home, I would like to welcome Angelica Teixeira. And today we are
Hello.
just so excited to have her on. She's a true legend. This is like literally a dream to have her on today. Angelica has been competing for 11 years, and she is a two-time Miss Bikini Olympia and four-time Miss Bikini International. Angelica took a break from competing after the 2020 Olympia to start her family, welcoming daughters Alyssa and Isla in 2021 and 2022, or 23, sorry. Angelica returned to the IFBB Pro Bikini stage at the Arnold Classic this year and wowed the judges and fans with her incredible physique and presentation. Just an amazing physique, just a year shy of when her daughter was born. We are beyond excited to have her on the show today to share all of her wisdom and experience with our audience. Welcome to Bikinis After Babies, Angelica Teixeira.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to share this experience being a mom and competing. And just so happy to be here and to be talking to everyone and all the moms out there.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much for joining us. It really
Yes.
is an honor.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I
It's
would
my
be
pleasure.
surprised if anyone didn't know who you were, but for somebody who's just tuning in and new, can you share with us a little bit about how you got started competing?
Yeah, so in 2013, I was already a fitness instructor and a personal trainer. And I just, with Instagram, I started to see like people competing and all the amazing physiques. And I'm like, you know what? I'm almost there. I think I can do this. And I wanted to really know the secret because everyone thinks it's a secret, behind it. I'm like, I need to know that secret so I can help my clients, like to get in an even better shape and myself too. But I just want to do one competition just to learn and that's it because I always loved food too much. Like, like I'm like, diet is not for me, but I'm gonna do
Yeah.
just this one time. And then that's how I got into it. I did figure. I chose, like I didn't choose. My coach at that time chose figure for me, but I was never a figure competitor. First time I went on stage, I was like, trying to flex my lats, and I didn't have the lats. And looking at the other girls, and like, oh my God, they're so much bigger than me. But I did. My first competition was figure, and then that was in 2013. And then I did my second on figure. My first one I placed it like last place. And I was like, oh, okay. And everyone was like, ah, I think you're gonna win if you compete because like all my clients, all my friends are like, you already in a great shape. You're gonna win. You're gonna win. And I put that in my mind, like, okay, okay, I'm gonna win. And then I got there last place, and I was like, okay. So you know what? I'm not gonna do just one. Now I want to get in that top five. I want to get in that picture. And then I did my second competition as a figure, and I placed, I think it was third. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I want to win first place. And that's when on my third show, I discovered bikini because back then we had just a few videos. We didn't have like so many videos like today, like to just tap on Google or YouTube and watch, like all the posing and learn about everything about bikini. You guys know how it was back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started to see videos, and then I saw Natalia Mello, she was Miss Olympia at that time, and then Ashley Kawatser, and Ninja Paulina. I'm like, you know what? This is what I want to do. Like, like have all the sass and be able to show my personality on stage more. And even though I loved figure and I loved the shape and everything, I was like, you know what? Let me cross over. Let me do both. Let me see how I feel. And then I did bikini without not even practicing the posing a lot. I just went with the flow and what I felt. And I was like, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to be doing since day one. Like, I love it. And after that, I was hooked. I was like, well, that plan of just learning the process and doing just one show is gone. Now I want to really do this. And that's when I start taking it serious and start like, on the cast for my pro card.
Yeah, which, I
That's great
mean,
you didn't let that last place defeat you either.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you expected to get first. You didn't get first. You got last and you're like, "No, we're going to we're gonna go
Yeah.
at this.
I'm
That's cool. You had that
actually,
fire.
yeah, I'm actually thankful that I got the last place. Otherwise, I would have done just that one show,
Yeah.
because this is actually how I am. I think, like my goal was just to run the process, win the show, and then help my clients, help me, and that's it. Maybe if I won, I would have, you know what? Yes, everything went well. I got what I wanted. So now I know how to, well, there's really no secret. It's just a more strict diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you know what? Now I know there's not really a secret, but you kind of learn, like being more strict with your clients also so they can get in the better shape. I'm like, now I can help them, like achieve an even better physique. Maybe I would have done just that one show, but no, like that put a fire on me to
Mm-hmm.
keep going. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I didn't do well. Okay, let me do one more. So I'm actually grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's such a great mindset. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's probably one of the keys to success is, just seeing the sort of the beauty in adversity. And your whole journey has not been without obstacles. I mean, just your even quest for a pro card was very challenging, having to do multiple shows in order to obtain that title. Can you kind of talk just a little bit about that for our audience who doesn't know what that was like back in, was it 2014 and 15 when you were trying to
Yeah,
get your
there
pro
was,
card?
I got my pro card in 2015, but I started like 2014 was the year that I really discovered, like end of 2013 that I won shows, and then I thought I was qualified for nationals, but I just had a green card at that time. I wasn't an American citizen, and I was living here in US with a green card. And I was like, oh, okay, I have a green card. So now I got qualified for nationals. That was the last show of the year, the USA's. And then Miami Nationals was, yeah, I think was that show. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Florida, compete, try to get my pro card. And I almost bought the ticket and set up the hotel and everything. And then I was like, okay, let me read the rules, right? So I went on the website and then I saw needs to be an American citizen. And I'm like, hold on. I'm not an American citizen. I'm on my way there, but I'm not there yet. I just have a green card, so I'm not an American citizen. And then that's when I found out that I cannot compete at nationals. I'm like, so if I cannot do nationals, I'm gonna get my pro card. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I contact the NPC, President Jimenez, and I asked them, and they said, oh, there is some people that was awarded a pro card, like through the country. So if you win several overalls, like championships, you're gonna maybe they can award you a pro card, and you're gonna be representing your country, not US. And I'm like, well, that is the only way. Yes, that's the only way right now. There's no national shows that you can do. And I'm like, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. So in 2014, I started the quest for my pro card and trying to win as many overalls as I could. And by the end of the year, I won. So I think I won in 2014 four. No, I won five overalls, but one they didn't
Crazy.
count. Yeah, so
Oh,
one they were
no.
like, oh, okay, all these overalls are great, but you know what? Like this one that you won in Brooklyn, that was the Brooklyn Grand Prix. Like we're not gonna count this one. I think it was because it was the first year that they had the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, great. And they're like, oh, you know what? We need one more. And I'm like, okay. So that was already the end of the season. I'm like, okay, next year I'll go for one more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like, first show of the season, I was still living in New York, and it was the biggest in New York. It's the NBC Metropolitan. Um, and then I prepped and I won the overall. I'm like, yay. And I was like, you know what? Next week is the New Jersey show. I'm going to do that one as well. And then I got one more overall. So there was six overalls total.
Wow.
So yeah, six overalls total. And then I sent a letter and they said, okay, so now they have all the overalls. This is Brazil, right? But I kept contact with the NPC, always putting them on the email so they could follow everything. I'm like, okay, so now I have six overalls. What can I do? Like, oh, you need to come to Brazil and compete here so we can give you your pro card because we need you to at least compete once here in Brazil so we can tell that you're representing Brazil. And then they invited me for the Arnold Classic in Brazil. And they were like, oh, you don't even need to win, and we just need you to come and compete here. But they thought that I couldn't go because I wasn't an American citizen. I think they thought you know what, if she's not in America, she can't leave US. She needs to stay there. So when she say that she can't come, we say that we'll deny her pro card. But I said, okay, I can. I have a green card. I can travel. And then I went and I got third place. And then they said I didn't need to win, and I did great because there was such a crazy lineup in Brazil for the Arnold Brazil. And then I came back and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna say nobody said anything about my pro card. So what's going on? So I waited 2 weeks and nobody said anything. And then I mailed the Brazilian Federation. And I'm like, okay, it was great to compete in Brazil. It wasn't because they treat me really bad in Brazil, to be honest,
Oh no.
But I said, okay, it was great because they never like it because now it's split it. It's not the IFBB elite anymore in
Right.
Brazil, but before was just one federation. And in Brazil was terrible. It was, like super complicated. It was super hard to get a pro card. There was a lot of politics things on behind the scenes. So it was super tough. And, so today is different because the NPC worldwide is there. So it's another situation. But the way they treated me, because they said, "Oh, you with the NPC, right?" No, we don't do NPC here. This is different. So they treat me really, really bad in Brazil because I was competing with the NPC, and that was a dream to compete in Brazil. And I was like, wow. I'm like, I never was treated so bad, like in my whole career. And I was like, okay, I just want to get this done. Let's keep going. As long as I get my pro card, it's okay. So I'm like, okay, it was awesome competing in Brazil. So now that I placed third place, and you say that I didn't need to win, just compete there. So what's the next step for my pro card? They're like, oh, we actually had a meeting, and because we found out they can come and go, so I think we should start all over and do everything like all the
Oh
other
my gosh.
people in Brazil that represent in Brazil do. So you have to do the local show and then the national show and then the states and then the national.
That's
And then if you
crazy.
win the national, you're going to qualify for the Worlds or for Arnold. And if you win the overall there, that's when you're going to get your pro card. I'm like, after 20
That's
competitions trying to
crazy.
get all the overalls, yes. Uh-huh.
Oh my
So you
goodness.
say you remember, right? So it was
Yeah.
like, it was crazy. And I was putting everything on social media. Instagram was really small. It wasn't that
Yeah.
big at that time. But because everyone that competed, I think everyone kind of like follow each other back
Yeah.
then, right? So I had friends all over. They also competed. And everyone was kind of like following me, like this place for like 2 years. And then they denied, and I'm like, okay, I tried everything, and so now it's not on my hands anymore. There's nothing else I can do. But and then I email, like, kind of like translated everything I sent to President Emmanuel, and they kind of like, okay, don't worry, I'll take care of this. And I'm like, what he's gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're gonna talk to Brazil and. And then I was just like 2 weeks, the longest 2 weeks of my life. I'm
I
like, you
bet.
know what? I don't think it's gonna work. I'm not gonna get my pro card. I better try. But at that time, I was already so in love and kind of like I had a voice in my mind, and people coming to me like, "But why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? You're just spending money. You have no sponsors. Like, it's so hard for you to get your pro card. Why keep going?" And I'm like, yeah, I had that voice like, "Hey, you have to keep going. I know
Yeah.
you're gonna be, like great doing this. So keep going."
Yeah.
And I was paying for all my competitions. Of course, I had no sponsors, and I was like, no, I'll keep going until they said, well, now you can't, right? So I was already kind of like, I think I have to start, like thinking about something else that I want to do with my life because I thought this was gonna be, like my career, and then I was kind of like just hopeless, and then I received a letter in the mail with my pro card, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
There's
I'm like,
goosebumps.
what is this? Yes, I'm like, what is
Wow.
that? It was the best day of my life back then. I'm like, I can't believe. And then when I saw, it was like representing US and signed by President Emmanuel, and I was like, huh. I'm like, you know what? I thought President Emmanuel was going to talk to them and kind of like convince them to give me the pro card, but he told me like, Angelica, the U.S., we are awarding you your pro card because you deserve.
Yeah.
Like everything that you've done, everything that they asked you to do, you did. So if they denied, we give you your pro card because there's no other way, sadly, for you to get the pro card, but you prove that you deserve to like stand with the pros.
Yeah.
And then I start like representing US, and yeah, it was
And
amazing.
then,
That was in
yeah.
2015.
And
I
then
love
two
that you get
years
to
later,
represent. Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I love because like I knew some of the backstory. I've again followed you for so long, but like I love that you get to represent the U.S. because of the experience you had in Brazil. You get to represent like the U.S. that like loves you so much and treated
Yeah,
you so well and honors you, and the fact that like you got the pro card from the U.S.
yeah.
and you get to rep that. Like I just loved that whole experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And actually, like all my Brazilian fans, there was always like, because I make sure that I also represent Brazil, even though they were saying
Mm-hmm.
US,
Yeah.
because, well, this is my home country too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have that half heart in Brazil, half heart here in US.
Yeah.
And I always made sure to talk in Portuguese in my page and, like to keep
Yeah.
representing Brazil. So I built a big following in Brazil as well. But and then when was like the Olympia time and they brought me on stage representing United States. Well, like, like when I won the Olympia, all the Brazilians like, oh well, very nice, but why don't say Brazil? When you come on stage. So they all got really
Oh,
mad.
yeah.
So
Oh.
at one time I had to go on a big platform in Brazil and speak and tell the whole story, because a lot of people was like mad because they knew I was Brazilian. They knew, like I was also now American and Brazilian, but they were kind of like mad because he didn't never say Brazil, but they didn't know, everything that I went through.
Yeah.
So now because Brazil and US with the NPC worldwide, they so like, like it's so strong, the link and, like
Mm-hmm.
Brazilians are here all the time competing. Now it's so many Brazilians that got the pro card and
Yeah.
before it
Mm-hmm.
was just a few. Now Brazil is like number two in the world, because it's crazy with the wellness that was created in
Yes.
Brazil, and all of that and all the amazing competitors coming from Brazil. It's like super big. So now when I come on stage, like when I came on stage for the Arnold Classic this year, was the first time and I was surprised. They were like, she's from Brazil, now living in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of like, I thought it was cool because it was
Mm-hmm.
a
That's
way for
cool.
me to represent both,
Yeah.
the way they
Yeah.
brought me on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I already see on the Olympia athletes that are qualifying on the list, they put Brazil, they didn't put US. And
Oh,
it
wow.
was it was someone on the, like on the high ups there that put the list that,
Oh.
uh, take off the list. They chose to put me as representing Brazil this time, and I'm okay with that because
Yeah.
I was always be representing both, no
Mm-hmm.
matter, like. And I think when they bring me on stage, they're not just gonna say Brazil because they know the whole story,
Yeah.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a wild story. I mean, and that's,
yeah,
dating back so many years ago, probably a lot of newer competitors maybe don't understand, that it was very difficult for international competitors to obtain pro
yeah,
cards. And you never gave up, which I think is just a very strong quality of yours and why so many people love you. And there's probably been other times in your life where, you had adversity. I kind of want to talk
yeah.
about the knee injury in 2020
Oh
and
yeah,
needing to have surgery prior to the Olympia. That was probably
Mm-hmm.
another time where, there's probably a voice going, oh my gosh, like maybe this is time for me to take a break. Maybe I need to, step back a little bit. So, what was that
yeah.
experience like and how did you push through it?
It was really tough because I lost my title in 2019, right? And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna win that title back in 2020. And then I did the Arnold. I got second place, and it was very close with Isa. And I was like, you know what? I can do this. I'll come back for the Olympia and I'll get the title back. That was all that was in my mind that year. And then when I was about to start my prep, there was COVID and this, the crazy time. And
Mm-hmm.
then dancing with my knee just gone like nowhere because I wasn't feeling pain or anything. Like it was something that was like, what happened? And that was my meniscus. And yeah, I went to the doctor. He said, okay, you need to get surgery. But I'm like, hey, I have the Olympia, that was the only thing that was good for me during COVID time that they pushed the Olympia to December. And it was
Yeah.
always in September, right? So that was June when I got hurt. And then he said, well, if you get surgery as soon as possible, I don't think you'll be able to recover full to compete the end of the year because I know you need to go through, like at least 3 months of preparation. And I'm like, no, I actually need to go more because the level of bikini is going high and I need to bring my best. And he's like, oh my God, like, there's no enough time. And I'm like, what if I don't do the surgery? He's like, you're going to be limping, you're not going to be able to even walk properly on stage and not even train. And I'm like, okay, let's do the surgery. And he's like, but I'm telling you, you might not be able to compete. And I'm like, okay. And then he did it, and he was like, okay, physical therapy for 2 months and no training. And then I started physical therapy, and the physical therapist was like, oh, you're recovering really well. And then everything that he asked me to do, I'm doing, and I'm overdoing it, at home. And it's like, okay, no lower body workout for 2 months at least. And I'm like, okay. But I start doing like shoulders with like 1 week after the surgery. I'm already doing shoulders and biceps. Anything that I could do, I was doing. I had that machine in my garage that I bought for COVID time. Like, thank God, So I was kind of like going down in the garage and doing back and doing like all the physical therapy, like the exercise for physical therapy. And then I was like, you know what? With like less than 1 month, I was already trying to squat in the machine. And I'm like, in the physical therapist, he say, the pain is the signal. If you feel pain, stop. And I was kind of like squatting and no pain. I'm like, what? I think everything is good. I'm recovered. And I went back to do a session, like a physical therapy session. He's like, you know what? I don't want to see you anymore. I'm like, what? It's like, you don't need it. You're super strong. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but it's working. And I'm like, okay, this is all I wanted to hear. And I'm like, so I'll tell you, I'm already training at home. I'm already, doing leg workouts, squats. He's like, I knew it. And he's like, you're too strong. You come here to physical therapy and this is nothing for you. And I'm like, okay, so I'll just keep going. He's like, keep going. You're doing great, So he just gave me a few exercises. And then I went back to see my doctor and he's like, Angelica, I knew it. I'm like, Doc, I'm already training. I feel so good. And then he did all the exam. He's like, you're great. Like, I don't know how you did it, but well, you're ready. You're ready to start training again. But when he said like that, I was like, okay, so now I need to choose. Like, I already lost my title. I got second place. Of course, I came from winning, like years of just winning. And then I lost my title. I got third place at the Olympia. That was kind of like a big, of course, third place at the Olympia. Come on, it's every competitor's
Yeah.
dream. But once you're on top for so long, when you drop to third place, it's like, wow, well, like, it's kind of
Yeah.
like, what's wrong? What's going on? Even though it's still great, like after that boom, you're still grateful, like, well, I'm still on top, like being on the top five at the league is amazing. But come on, I want to go back to the first place, right?
Yeah.
And then the Arnold, I got second place again. I'm like, okay, I better start getting used to not getting the first place. But in my mind was like, no, I know I can do it, like that, the fire in my heart. I'm like, I know I can come. And I think like no matter the odds, every competitor should always train to win. No matter, like I had two babies and I started training just after a few months, thinking about competing. Like, like I knew I was going to be on stage after just 1 year of giving birth. And the odds of me not doing well was super high. Like everyone was kind of like, oh, she's kind of crazy. But every competition, I think every competitor should train and get ready for the competition in your mind, like I can win this, no matter what it is. No matter if people say like, Angelica, it's like right now it's not really, like you should be kind of like realistic. We are, but you still have to win, like trying to do well. Like I think if you start a preparation, if you do through a prep, thinking about like, what, if I get like fifth place, I'm happy. Like if you're already prepping with that mindset, you might end up doing like getting like 15 or less.
So
So
true.
that year was kind of like I'm like, you know what? This may be a time to step back for real and maybe recover and then think about have kids. Or I can prove again that I can overcome, like my life, nothing was easy, like coming from Brazil with no English and then having to learn from zero, like being here. It was like being born again. It was super tough. And I had the chance to give up. I had college in Brazil. I had my, like I could work as a fitness instructor in Brazil. That's what I went to college to do in Brazil. You need to go to college to be a personal trainer, to work in the gym. And I loved that. And also I had my job in Brazil. I had like my family in Brazil, friends, everything. But I was like, you know what? I like the tough side. I'll learn this, I always like a challenge. And I was like, you know what? This is one more opportunity for me to prove and to kind of like inspire other people that maybe are going through something similar. But I didn't say anything. I didn't post anything online. I'm like, you know what? I don't want anyone to be kind of like, uh, like second guessing me, like, oh, now she's hurt. And so let's see what she looks like. Or also people like, oh, poor little thing, she lost her title, now she hurt her knee. Oh, no, I didn't want that. I was like,
Yeah.
I just want to come. I know I can overcome this, but I'm not going to say anything to anyone. I'll do it for me. And after, I'll tell everybody. So that's what I did. And I ended up getting fourth place. And I was like, that fourth place tasted like a first place after everything I went through that
Yeah.
year. So it was worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you at that time thinking about, okay, babies are on the horizon now, like this might be one more show and then we're going to, take a little break. And when you started your family, did you ever think you might not come back to the stage?
Yes. I thought, like, my husband, he wanted kids since 2010. Since before I started competing. So that's when I stopped taking like the pills that I used to take, to avoid 2010. And I was like, okay, when it comes, comes, right? But it never came. So I started competing in 2013, and then I was like, I never avoided. I never, never avoided. So I'm like, when it's time, even though if I'm competing, no matter what's going on in my life, God knows the right time and kids will come. So throughout my whole journey, I know it's crazy, but me and my husband, we never avoided babies.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, when it comes, comes. And then, like, there was a point after I got my pro card that my husband sat with me. And then I got my pro card. I qualified for the Olympia super fast. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm on a roll. Wow, my first Olympia, I'll do super good. Maybe I'll like get a top 10. Like, well, who knows? Maybe top 5, like we all dream big, right?
Yeah.
And then I got the second to last place in 2015 at the Olympia. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I got my pro card, but to compete on this level, I don't think, like I'm on that level yet. So my husband, we both sat down. He's like, baby, you already got your pro card. You compete at the Olympia. That's all you wanted. So maybe it's time for us to have babies. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you're right. You know what? So I wanted to do the Olympia, and I also really wanted to compete at the Arnold, but I don't think they're gonna invite me because who am I, right? I just did one per show, just placed last, second to last at the Olympia. I don't think they're gonna invite me, baby, but at least I need to send this letter of consideration. So I sent the letter, and they never got back to me. And I was like, I didn't know that the list was going to come out. I didn't know anything. I was kind of like, it was already super tough for me to live here and learn English at the same time and work and make money for me and my husband and him too, working all day. We're both trying to survive here and make a living. And at the same time learning English and competing, just competing is already something super overwhelming. So sometimes I didn't know a few things that our competitors sometimes knew, like that at least was going to come out for the Arnold. I didn't know that. I sent the letter, but I thought they was going to answer my email with because it was an email back then. They were gonna like with 1, 2 days get back to me or later a week, but and then a week went by, 2 weeks, and they never got back to me. And I'm like, you know what, baby, you're right. They didn't answer, so they did not even consider. So let's just, like focus on us and I think to have babies I need to bring my body fat, like higher, I need to gain some weight and some body fat. So let's just enjoy. We were out, like having dinner, like 3, 4 times, like a week, things that, because I was on that quest to win overalls, like the whole 2014 was tough. We could not do much, right? So just enjoying traveling, and like I gained like, I don't know, maybe 15. I was the heaviest like ever since I started competing. And then I was in the gym, like with my clients, right? Like training my clients. And then my phone started beeping, beep, 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 beep. And I'm like, oh, they're like, see, Angelica, what's going on? I'm like, no, I don't look at my phone when I'm working. Like, and then I keep working and beep, beep, beep. I'm like, hold on, something's going on. Like my phone never rings that way. And then when I see like so many messages from all the other bikini girls, like, oh my God, congratulations, you got invited for the album. I'm like, what? They're like, oh, you didn't know? I'm like, no, what's going on? They're like, oh, the list came out. I'm like, what list? I was
Oh,
just like
wow.
flying away, like I didn't know, like, and then I was like, where's this list? Wait, they're like, oh, on the IFBB Pro League website, and they also posted on the Instagram, like, so I went to see everything, and I'm like, I look at me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fluffy. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, and hey, and like me and my husband, we sat down. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna invite me. Looks like, so let's focus on have babies, and So I sat down with my husband that day after work, and I'm like, baby, there's something that I need to tell. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, Arnold invited me to compete. Like, I'm invited, so I can do the Arnold. And he's like, I'm like, but I know you want to have kids, and we, like we're kind of like excited for this new journey. So you tell me, what do you want to do? And he's like, baby, it's the Arnold. You have to do it. And I'm like, yes, I think so too. So that's when everything shifted, and that goal of having kids, we always had it, we always wanted. But and then after the Arnold, but that was when I break the top 5, and I got 4th place in 2016. And then my name started to be out there, like, oh, who is this girl, And then I won the Salt Lake City show, and then I won the Pittsburgh Pro, and then the New York Pro. And I kind of like came as one of the favorites for the Olympia and got 2nd place, like after Berkeley came in 2016. And they was like, baby, we can't stop now. He's like, no, we can't stop now.
Yeah,
Like,
you're on fire.
you're doing too good to stop. So he always supported, even though he was the one that really wanted kids. Since when we got married, like, like we together for 20 something years. So since the beginning, when we got married in Brazil, he always wanted kids, but I wanted to wait. I wanted to do something with my career. I didn't know it was going to be competing. I thought I was going to just being a personal trainer, being a trainer. But and then he said, well, now you're on your way, like, like your dreams are coming true. Like, we can't stop now. So that's when I kept going. And I was like, you know what? Now I want to do everything that I can, be on top, build my name. And then after I see that I done everything, that's when I want to have kids. So after the Olympia that I got 3rd place, that I lost my title, I was like, maybe it's the time. But I was like, no, I don't think it's fair to lose and stop, I think I should at least prove to people that I didn't give up, that I lost, and at least I came back and I tried to win it back, or, I show up, I don't want to be that champion there in the first fall, stay there and say, you know what, that's it, like, this is it, I'm like, I want to prove to people that no matter if I lose or win, as long as I keep showing up, like I'm proving to myself that, like I'm proud of myself, and, like that I still can do this. So I'm not going to stop now. I'm still going to do that one more show. So after the Olympia 2020, there was clear in my heart that there was the time. So it's like now I got 4th place. It's amazing. I was happy. I was super happy with my physique. I think I never brought like for me it was my best shape, even though I won the Olympia. Like we all know that, like the physique evolves with time. And I think I did that. Like after I lost, like I was able to change everything, kind of like do a different prep and bring a different shape for the Arnold and also a different shape for the Olympia. And I was proud. I'm like, what I wanted, because honestly, 2019, I lost my title, But I was super down because I wasn't proud of myself, of my physique. And, so once I was on stage, I didn't have fun. It wasn't fun, I
Yeah.
didn't leave the stage kind of like, wow, I'm proud, like of what I brought,
Yeah.
So I wanted the last show to be like before having kids, to leave the stage and be like, I'm proud. Like, I think I presented a package that, like no matter if I win or if I lose, I'm proud, and that's what matters, So after that show, even though I got fourth place, I was happy and like, hey, I'm still like in the top 5 best in the world, and
Yeah.
I think this physique was even better than the other physiques, even though I won the other years. I think I was able to really improve my package and this and that. And I'm like, okay, now it's time. So I told my husband, he's like, okay. He was like, yes, baby, this is the time. You are amazing. Your name is there, and no matter what happens, nobody gonna take, like from you,
Mm-hmm.
everything that you've done and who you are. Everyone loves you. And I think this is the next step. Let's have babies. I'm like, okay, let's do it. But in my mind, I was like, okay, let's do it, but what can we do different? Because we have been
Right.
avoiding babies for this long. So in my mind, I was like, I think I'll have to do a treatment. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. And then I went to my primary doctor and did like a bunch of blood work and exams. And I told him like, hey, maybe you're gonna have to give me a contact of a doctor, they
Yeah.
specialize in, like in having babies, because I told him like all this time we did not avoid, but I never got pregnant, and I was happy that I never got pregnant during this time. But now, like,
Yeah.
maybe
It
something's
makes you
wrong.
question it. Yeah. Like you
Yeah,
have to go to a
yeah.
fertility clinic, something's going on.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
for sure. And I was like, and then Mark was like, maybe it's me. I'm like, no, maybe it's me. And also because my body fat was always so low during all this time.
Yeah.
And after I start doing well, and well, you miss Olympia, you cannot really rebound and gain all the weight. I always kept like a healthy weight during my off seasons, but I don't think it was enough, like to be able to get pregnant. So I was like, I always had my period too. I would lose, like miss like the last month of prep, I always
Yeah.
not come. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I don't have my period this time. But right after when I went into off season, it was back with a month. So I'm like, so it was kind of like always kind of like normal. So I don't understand why. So I'm like, okay, let's investigate. But after I went and saw my primary doctor, he sent the referral for the doctor, for the fertilization doctor. And then I'm like, I start feeling weird already. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little weird. And then my husband like, baby, your belly got so bloated. And I'm like, I know, right? Wow, the every
Only
off
your husband
season.
can say that.
Yeah, only him. Yeah, he's like, nobody tell that, but I can't like. He's like, I'm like, yeah, baby, I always gain weight on my thighs, my hip area, it's always
Hmm.
like for my off season, but never my stomach. And I'm like, baby, I'm really feeling weird because I never get that bloated during my off season. My stomach, it's always like that fat under the glutes. And I'm like, something's going on. He's like, baby, you pregnant. I'm like, no, babe, of course not. Like, we not even went there to see the doctor yet. And
Hmm.
that was March. I'm like, I just stepped out of stage. Like, I'm still super lean, like, it was just a bloat in my belly, but that's it. I'm like, baby, there's something's really weird. I'm like, so I went quiet and bought the test,
Hmm.
and I didn't tell him, but he was the one that said, like, you are pregnant. I'm like, I'm not. So I went really quiet, bought the test, and then went to the restroom and did it like it was an afternoon. And then I'm like, oh, everyone says it's better in the morning, so I'll do another one tomorrow.
Hmm.
But then I did it, and then I waited, and when I look, I'm like pregnant. I'm like, no way. I'm like, no, I bought 3. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to do one more. It's not possible. No, I'm like, all these years, not getting pregnant. And I'm going to get pregnant so easy now. Like, this something is wrong. And then I did another one, pregnant. And then I researched, like, can it be wrong? And they say, no, it can be wrong if it says negative, but positive is not
That's right.
possibility. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, my God, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, my God, I'm still gonna do one tomorrow morning because they say gotta be in
Hmm.
the morning.
Just to be
But and then
sure.
my husband was kind of like out, and he was coming back from work, and he called me like, "Oh, baby, I'm gonna stop by the police academy, and because I'm gonna run with the guys and roll jiu-jitsu with the guys." I'm like, "No, baby, I think you should come home." And he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm okay, but please come home." And he's like, I'm like, we can run here together. You don't need to run with them. And I'm like, I just wanted him to come home. And he's like, okay, no, okay. I'm like, I'm sure you okay. Like, come home, babe. Please come home. And then he got home and he went, it's like, I see all the women, that tell their husbands, super, they made a video, they make a video, they record everything, they put on the box, kind of like, like the test and give it to them, super nice, make a surprise. I was super, I went crazy. And I'm like, and then he got home and he was like, oh, I need to use the restroom. I'm like, no, babe, come here first. I'm like, no, no, I really need to use the restroom. He went straight to the restroom and I couldn't wait. I went to the restroom and I'm like, baby, I'm pregnant. He was sitting on the toilet.
You're just so excited, though. Oh my gosh.
I couldn't wait. And then and then he was like, hey, God, I'm like, thank God I'm already sitting in the toilet because I feel like I'm sick now. And they was kissing him. He was kissing me. He's sitting on the toilet. I'm like,
it's so cute.
oh my God. And
But that's
after
real
that,
life. Like, that's real life.
real
Come
life.
on.
Yes. For the second one, I tried to do gym. I'm like, okay, this time I'll do different, But for the first time, it was really funny, It was
Just a huge
after
surprise.
after that I saw that, and then I stopped because I was always so busy competing, making a life here and this and that. I was not even looking at what pregnant women, how they kill their husbands, Like I didn't
Yeah.
know. There was nobody that I followed back then that was getting pregnant and. Well, I didn't know. And then after that, a bunch of videos popping for me. I'm like, so now you show me that it's nice to make
It's like
a
a little too
surprise for your
late.
husband, okay? But yeah,
gosh.
but it was awesome. And it was, for me, it was God. Like, like we didn't do anything different. It was just like, I don't know if it's that mindset or what changed it. There was like, I'm ready now in like just 2 months, like December, October, November, not December, January, February, March. So 3 months I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So it was, for me, it was God. It's like, okay, she's ready now. It's the perfect time. And it happened,
It's just meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, but you asked also if it was in my mind that I was one day go back on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
At
Just kind
first,
of
I
all the
thought like this is
changes.
it. Now it's another, like chapter. I did everything I done. I still want to be like involved in the industry, so I got more clients. Like I started coaching more. I was already coaching since 2019, but after I got pregnant, I was like, you know what? Now I want to coach more because I don't want to be on stage anymore. I don't know what's gonna happen to my body, And as the pregnancy, it started to happen, and my belly was growing, and my body was transforming. I kind of like embrace it, like I think it was always like that my whole journey. I was never one of those competitors that didn't like to see my body on off season. I always show off with more curves, on a bikini and cellulite and a little bit of fat here and there. I always really liked, like the shape. It never really bothered me. So once I got pregnant, it was kind of like, you know what? I have to embrace this. And then my body changed, and I really loved my body during pregnancy. I was like, okay, after baby's gone, after baby's out, I'm like,
What
that's
happens?
when
Yeah.
I'm really, yeah, that's, like the empty belly and what's going to happen, loose skin, and I don't know what's going to happen. So I was like, no, I will just focus on building my family now because I don't want just one. I always wanted, like my baby to have siblings or at least one. And then after I had the list, I was like, you know what? Doctors say, so now do you want to avoid have babies? What method do you want to use? I'm like, no, I don't want to use anything. He's like, really? I'm like, doc, I'm not too young, so I want my baby to have a sister or a brother. So it took me all this time to get pregnant. Look, I never avoided and like since 2010 that I didn't have, and just now I got pregnant. Imagine if it takes a long time for me to get pregnant again. And then you
Yeah.
think, usually, Angelica, after you get pregnant once, it's easier for you to get pregnant really fast right after. And I'm like, I don't know, doc. I'm rather not avoid. And when it's time, when God wants again, I'll get pregnant again. And okay, so it's just like, okay, no, you're right. If you're not too young, you don't feel comfortable waiting. Okay, well, 4 months. At least it was 4 months, and I was already like, oh, something's wrong again. And Mike, like, Okay, because I got in a really good shape right after, and I felt
Hmm.
really good. And in my mind, I was like, you know what? If I get pregnant now, I'm comfortable again with my body, so I think it's fine. I wanted to get pregnant after losing, like the pregnancy weight and feeling nice and comfortable again with my body. That's when, I said I want to get pregnant, and it happened really fast. Thank God. I think because I kept training my whole pregnancy, eating really well. And then after baby, after doctor cleared me to start training again, I was already in the gym, training, eating super good. So my body was kind of like back, not to, of course, competition shape, but to a nice body that I like it with more curves and then my husband again, like, you're getting bloated again. I'm like, no, stop that. Like,
I
no,
love how
no.
you have like a clear sign that like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a little bloated. Go take a
Yeah,
test.
it's funny because some women will feel nausea, right? I
Hmm.
never had for both pregnancies, no nausea, no nothing. It
Really?
was like, I swear, it was like nothing was happening. The only thing that I had with my first one was kind of like some food aversions. Like I loved peanut butter, and then during pregnancy I hated peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like onions, I love everything with a lot of onions and garlic.
Hmm.
All my food for seasoning, I always put a lot of onions. I cannot do any onions. So that was the only thing. But other than that, no nausea, no feeling sick, no low energy, no nothing. Like it was
That's
a
amazing.
yeah, it was amazing. Like my doctor said after my second one, he said, "When we gonna go for the third one?" I'm like, "No, doc, no, I'm done. That's it." He's like, "Don't say that. You are my best client. If you're having babies, you don't complain about anything. You feel great your whole pregnancy. You're super healthy your whole pregnancy." I'm like, no, doc, it's not true. Like, because I had a lot of allergies during pregnancy. I'm like, remember my allergies? Like, oh, this is nothing. Tell me about the other bad stuff that happens to all the pregnant women. I'm like, no, that you are right. But that's it, doc.
Hmm.
Because that's like I felt really, really good. The only thing was allergies was really,
Mm.
really high my whole pregnancy. So that was the thing that today I'm like, no, I think I'm good because it was so, so bad that I had to get sinus surgery after my
Oh,
second
wow.
one.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't know why. I was always a little allergic in Brazil, in New Jersey. When I was living in New Jersey, no allergies at all. Once I moved it to Texas, here in Austin is really like a lot of trees.
Oh,
Hmm.
Like,
yeah.
like the air here, everyone gets allergic here. And I started getting allergic in 2019 when I moved here. And then started
Yeah.
getting worse in 2020. And then I got pregnant. And then during pregnancy, like the airways, everything kind
Hmm.
of like is different because everything gets a little swollen here. And my breathing was terrible, but doctor said, "Oh, take allergy medicine." I'm like, "No, like, I'm not gonna risk taking medicine, knowing that I have my baby here. I'll
Hmm.
just push through it." And then I went to see the doctor. They're like, "Hey, you can. It's okay. You can't be feeling, like so bad about your sinus and about your allergy. You need to do something." I'm like, so. This is safe to do. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. So I chose not to do any medicine during pregnancy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then after Alisa, it was really bad. I discovered I had asthma because I was all the time not treating, the
Hmm.
allergy. So I was like, so now I have asthma. I had to start treating the asthma. And then it was mild asthma. So it wasn't something that I needed to worry so much, but it happened. And then I got pregnant right after. And I'm like, wow. And then everything started all over again for
Hmm.
all those 9 months. So there's no pregnancy that has with, like,
It's never
not everything.
perfect.
Yeah, everyone always will have a little something that will bother. And for
Hmm.
me, it was just that. Like, nothing else to bother but my eyelids, my sinus. And then after I had Isla, and I went to treat, and the doctor said, okay, we finally can treat. Please don't get pregnant again. Let's just treat it first.
Yeah.
And then I did a CT scan, and they were like, "Wow, this is really interesting. Like all my sinus was all gray, and it's supposed to be black, right? Because it's a hole, and it was
Oh.
all gray here, here. There was all full of mucus, like everywhere.
Oh,
And then we
wow.
tried with antibiotics and like sprays, and nothing worked. Like in steroids and a lot of things that they gave me, but nothing worked. Like I did another CT scan, and like still gray, like to a point that I stopped feeling the sense of smell, and stopped like hearing from one ear. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we need to do something. And the doctor said that surgery, and it's the like the high level surgery you need to do in the hospital, not even the clinic. And it was like general anesthesia. I'm like, wow,
Oh
okay.
my
So
goodness.
like thinking about having another baby, and now I clean everything. I feel better, even though it's not 100%, but I feel much better. I'm
Yeah.
like, like because of that reason and other reasons too, I'm happy with you. It's,
Yeah.
I think they have each other, we are
They're close in
They're
happy
so
age
close in
family.
too.
age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they 13 months apart, and that's what I
Oh
really
wow.
wanted because I'm 13 months, exactly 13 months apart with my older sister, and
Yeah.
we were always like this. And then we have my younger sister is 2 years younger than me, and we also like us three like three best friends. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I want
Aw.
to have one back to back so they can be friends like us.
Yeah.
So that's what I have, and I'm like, you know what, I'm happy even though we
That's
wanted a
perfect.
boy too. I told the doctor, I'm like, Marco wanted a boy. He's like, there's no way, like it's 50-50, like like I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wait, I don't want to keep trying,
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to risk that. I know my
no.
grandparents, they had 4 girls before they had a boy.
You
And that
That's
was,
see?
how you end
yeah.
up with so many
So
kids. Yeah.
no, I don't want to. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
can't. The Mark would say, "No, one day we end up having a boy." I'm like, "Uh-oh, no, no."
Oh my
I'm like, "Baby,
gosh.
now I'm happy with my body. Like I don't want to go through everything again, and not just my body, but also like my health. Like
Yeah.
feeling that way again, and then having to maybe go
Do
get
the surgery
surgery
again.
again. Like I'm like, no, this was too extreme. Like I think we're good with you."
Yeah. So take me back then to the time when you've now got two little ones and now you've had sinus surgery and you decide you're going to make a comeback. Like, when did you decide, okay, I'm going to go back to competing and I'm not only going to pick a pro show, but I'm going to put in for the Arnold? So tell me how that kind of all came to be.
Yeah, so it was actually, it was, so after I had the island, then my body went back like, like super fast. I didn't expect that. I'm like, okay, now that I'm having my second baby back to back, my body gonna be different, like 2 pregnancies, like the belly did not even go back all the way and then stretch again. I'm like, let's see how I look. And then after my body started changing, I started losing weight, not even trying super hard, like still going out, enjoying life. But when we have this lifestyle, this is what we do. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm not going out with my husband, I'm eating clean, and what I do, I go to the gym. That's what I do, my whole life. So it's my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So just by doing this as a lifestyle and super with balance, I was already getting back in shape. And then I was like, okay, I just feel good for me, and that's it. I don't think I wanna. I loved having this balance and being able to enjoy life more and eat, like whatever when I want, and traveling with my husband, with my kids, and this is great. But and then I went to the Olympia, like they hired me to do the pay-per-view for Brazil, and I was there. And then, like while I was there, I was like, in my mind, it's still like, no, I don't think I will ever, like compete again. But when I saw Bikini on stage and I was talking about Bikini and then all the environment, and I was like, oh my God, maybe like I stopped. I never say that was my last show. Like, maybe, this is not fair. Maybe I should still go back there, and see like and see how I feel and even like motivate more people now that I have babies, right? So
Right.
they start to kind of like bug me at the liver when like Salt became on stage. And then also everyone that was kind of like seeing me in the industry because it was a long time that I didn't see, like a lot of people were like, oh my God, you're getting ready for a show. You look amazing. I'm like, really? They're like, Jennifer, you look great. I'm like, oh my God, well, maybe I do, So I kind of like lost sense, like, like of where I was standing weak on my, my physique. And people were really impressed, like, oh my God, you look great, like all the time. And I'm like, oh, maybe I really do look great. And maybe I'm close, like, I don't know. So after I came back from the Olympia, step on scale was a while that I didn't step on scale. And I'm like, 121 pounds? I'm like, this is almost my stage weight. I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, well, weight is it's pretty close, but my physique is not so close. Like, so, like, you know what? Let me do a video. Let me put on a bikini because it's been since 2020 that I, didn't put on a bikini. And then after the Olympia last year, I'm like, you know what? Let me put on a bikini. And then I put on a bikini, did a video, and I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, okay, it's missing something here and there. I think I'll have like some work to do. But it was more like it was the opposite as all the other preps. Like, I'm like, okay, now I think I'll need to regain some muscle. I think I did lost some muscle by the way I lost. Like, my weight is super low. I always started my prep around 130, and now I'm 121. So I actually need to start this prep gaining weight, not losing weight.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, you know what? And then I told my husband, like, let's see, he's gonna show me down, like, hey, come on, we have two babies now, no time for that. And I'm like, baby, what do you think? Like, a lot of people ask me if I'm getting ready for a show at the Olympia. Like, everyone kind of like saying that I look great, that I'm super close, thinking that I'm prepping already. I'm like, do you think I should step on stage again? And he's like, I think you should. And I'm like,
Oh,
really?
wow.
I'm like, really? You think so? Like, can take her. Like, there's nothing more motivating, like more inspiring than having like two babies, back to back babies, and then being able to step on stage again and looking at you, baby, you are not too far. Like, you can do this. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. And then I send like a really close friend and a daughter. She lives in California. She's Brazilian too. And she was always like, she always followed this whole journey, like as a friend, she was also competing. And then she was always like, in my corner. And I said it to her, like, my dear, like, amiga, I think I'm gonna compete again. What do you think? She's like, oh my God, I'm calling you right now. And it's just like, start putting that fire. Like, I think you should. Oh my God, look at your video. You are an alien. Like, who else I know, like that. Then I have two babies and look like this. Like, this is so close, amiga. And I'm like, okay, so let's do it. She's like, yeah, I'm here for you. Let's do it. So that's when I start to, like, I'm like, you know what? I'll do it and I'll take like big challenge. Like, I don't only just do it. I'll sign up for the Arnold. I think I had 16 weeks, I think, at that time.
Yeah.
Like, I'll send my letter of consideration to the Arnold, and let's see if they're gonna accept me. But I'll start prep right away, and I'll prep myself. And then, like, like my husband was like, prep yourself, like, this is crazy. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, if I'm gonna do something crazy, I'll go big. I'll go
Go
crazy all
do
the
it
way.
all.
Yeah, I'll do it all. And then I
Wow.
start prepping myself. Of course, I had people on my corner to help me. Like I coach with Fit Body Fusion. I started in 2020, like last year.
Yeah.
So it's been over a year that I'm with them. And I'm like, hey, like I have Jamie that she can kind of like guide me with anything that I need. She's super knowledgeable. And she was, one of the eyes that had, like second eyes. And then this friend too, she's super knowledgeable too. She has clients that compete. She's a personal trainer. And she was a competitor herself. And my husband was always there too, kind of like following every step through this like 40 competitions that I've done,
Right.
Yeah.
So he knew too. So like I just needed someone to kind of like tell me, okay, it's going well, you're in the right, like track. So I had all, like these people in my corner that said, okay, I can do this. And it was amazing. I was super, super happy with the package that I brought.
I love
Yeah.
seeing all your and like the prep journey with your
Hmm.
kids though. Like all of the reels and photos. Like it's just so fun to see your little girls like be a part of it like while you're doing
Yeah.
posing or practicing or trophies. It's just so cute like to see
Yeah.
them like look at mommy. It's
Oh, yeah, and that was the main reason that I say, do you know what? And then I was thinking my husband, gave me that push, and I'm like, you know what? Like, if I never go back on stage, they might end up thinking that I stopped because of them. I know they're gonna be super proud of all my journey, like my now both of them, the youngest already kind of like looking at me, mom, 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 like all my pictures on the wall, my bikini that I have a room that has, like a lot of things on the wall, my bikini that I won the Olympia, like, magazine pictures. And that, at that time, just the oldest one, like, was always like, mom, mom, and kind of like wanted to see my magazines and kind of like touching my bikini and trying to wear my bikini. I'm like,
Hmm.
they're already proud, like I know they're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
proud, but in the back of their mind, like, oh, as soon as mom got pregnant with us, she stopped. So
Yeah.
we ended her career. I'm like, it's not
Mm-hmm.
fair to leave this on them, like to think that okay, after us she never competed again because we ended up her career. I'm like, no, I actually want them to be part of this. I want them to be with me at a show and I want to have pictures with them of me on a bikini and they watch me on stage. I want them to be part of this because competing is such a big part of my life. Like
Yeah.
something that I love is something that, like I do it because I love. I start doing this because I love. I always I enjoy prep, I enjoy going to the gym, I enjoy the diet. It's something that I do and it's not really a struggle for me. Otherwise I would not sacrifice my family and be miserable. So
Hmm.
I'm like, it's something that I enjoy. It's such a big part of my life. And I want to make sure that they are part of this chapter
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. You
So I'm like, if
absolutely
not
changed that
now,
narrative.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm like, if not now, when? I'm like, if I don't do it right now, right after, I'm not gonna do it later. Like
Yeah.
time's ticking. I'm not super young, and I don't wanna be doing this like, of course, forever. But I feel that I still can. Like,
Hmm.
like I look at my physique, I'm like, I had two babies, but I think I still can bring something special to the stage and inspire other moms and people that are away from the stage and that did not even, had kids, but maybe step away and maybe thinking about coming back, but feel that they are too far away
Yeah.
from that. I'm
It's
like,
true.
I think this would be like good to send a message. Hey, we can do this. Like no matter when you
Yes.
put your mind, to, if you really want it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
Absolutely.
So yeah,
stop when you have
what do you
children. Like you
say?
can come back and, be better
Yeah,
than ever and continue to work on your goals. And it just looks
yeah,
different. I think that's what's kind of daunting because now you've got, more on your plate and you've got so many
yeah.
different hats that you wear. And one thing we always like to ask our pro athletes that are mothers, how do you juggle all of the things that you have to do to take care of your family, responsibilities as a wife, as a coach, as a sponsored athlete, and as a pro competitor? How do you fit it all in?
Yeah, sometimes I ask myself, like, how I'm doing all of this? Oh my God. Like, so, like, there's like, one time of the month that I go, like, God, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But it's just like really having balance and really living in the moment. And like when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. Like when I'm with my husband, they are they are number one, like priority from on
Mm-hmm.
top of everything. So there is a time for them, and I can like try to really set up a schedule for everything. Like the time that I'm with them, and no matter what happened, it's their time. And then after, like that time, I have a time that I answer all my check-ins, my clients. And then after that time, I put them to nap, and I have a babysitter that stays in the house. Thank God I have her. She takes care of everything, babies, like wash the clothes, fold, put in the right place, wash the bottles, prepare like food if I need to. Like I'll tell her what I want her to prepare for them. And like all these little things, like my free time I can just spend with them. I don't need to be, okay, babies, play, I'm washing the bottle. So I
Hmm.
have to, like, that's why, I told her, like, I need to hear. But sometimes not to stay with babies, will be more to take care of everything babies,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, so I can spend more time with them. And, and then after, so we both put them to nap, and after that, it's the time for me to leave the house because they're sleeping. So I try to go train, and while I'm training, I represent my sponsors because then I'm wearing, like the clothes that I
Hmm.
love and taking the supplements. So I try to do everything in the gym. While I train, I take pictures, I make videos, I make a selfie. So it's part of my, like I
Yeah.
just represent things that I really love for that reason. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had like more things that kind of like opportunities that came, and even like different things like to represent that doesn't fit like my regular lifestyle, like let's say a
Yeah.
watch, or
Yeah.
represent like something different, like something that they see that I kind of like have a little bit of influence, like, hey, but maybe you can do this even though it's not fitness related. I'm like, I can't. It gotta be things that I really love, that I'll be happy, using. And that'll be part of my life that I
Yeah,
can
fit into
show,
your
like
routine.
trifecta is the food that I eat.
Yeah.
Yep.
My babies eat trifecta. So I'm kind of like eating and I'm showing, It's not something that I need to take all the time to prepare, to promote, So everything's really real, like,
Yeah.
so I'm going to the gym before my training. I show that I'm using my pre-workout from Bucked Up, and then I'm wearing my TLF clothes, and I'm eating trifecta, and I'm wearing my little shaper, like, and waist trainer. So like I'll just represent things that fits my lifestyle because that makes my life easier.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll be wearing even though I was not an athlete, so why not, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it super easy. So I
Yeah.
say no to a few opportunities because it would not fit this
Yeah.
lifestyle. And
Yeah.
I'll have to be taking time to just like take a picture here or pretend I'm doing this. There's no time for pretending. It's
Yeah.
just like everything that I love, like, okay, I use it. Why not represent and tell everyone that
Yeah.
follows me, that I really love and use and recommend. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the gym, that's when I make all the foolish and everything. And then I come back home, they're waking up, the time is for them again. And then if I have one client or other client that needs me, send me a message, not check-ins anymore already. So all my check-ins early. So I can get back to them because like all my check-ins is in my app and I get a notification in my phone. So it's easier. Like while they playing, I can answer, like my
Yeah.
clients. And then like night times for my family, for my husband, I make dinner for them even though I'm on prep. Like I make pizza for them, even though I'm on prep, like it's
Yes.
easy for me. It's not
Yeah.
Yeah.
after I think after doing this for so long, we don't I don't know if you guys are the same,
Yeah.
The
but
same.
yeah, I'm
I
not
feel
really
like
like no, yeah.
it really is a mom thing because I've been doing it since I started prep too. It's just I don't want to miss out on that stuff with my kid. Same thing, like I'll make all their breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I'll make my prep food. We'll all sit at the table and eat together. I'll eat my prep food and they'll eat whatever it is that I
It
made them. So
happens it happens to you that they want to eat a little bit of your food.
Yeah.
never.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, no, it's
No.
mine.
They don't like to share
That
what
was
they
the
do.
the
Yeah.
hardest part for me.
Sharing.
Cause yeah, sharing. Like they eat super clean. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna want to eat my food now.
My
So
son always steals my water. He's still to this day. I'm like, you are 14 years old. Get your own water. He's like, but yours is right here. I'll just drink yours. I'm like,
But I measured it.
yeah, same here. And they're super young and they see that big gallon. I think they think, oh wow, it's so interesting. Let me drink this water.
No, I know.
But
They
yeah, I
just
start
don't
like
probably don't know
waiting,
any different.
waiting some extra, like a little extra rice,
yeah,
extra chicken. So like if they want, it's right there. I can give them from the extra. Like
Yeah.
that's smart because they're so little. Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
just growing up in it, so they won't know any different other than, mom works out and mom,
yeah,
eats
yeah,
this way, and it's how it
yeah.
is. And
That's
so
true.
it's healthy.
They're already used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good example. They eat really
Yeah.
well. They like vegetables. They like fruits. They like, like all the types, like they love protein, like chicken,
Yeah.
beef, anything that I give them is like, they love like any type of food. So I think this is a great example. They're already
yeah,
going to the garage, pretend they're training. Oh, I'm working
Yes.
out. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I love this. Me and my
Yeah.
husband too is super active. So we both setting a good example on them, to exercise, to eat well. So this is,
Yeah.
I'm proud, to be showing them.
Yes.
Like some people say, oh, maybe if you prep, you're going to show them that you're being too strict and maybe this is not good for them. I'm like, I don't think so.
No.
Like, really don't think so. I think this is being great. Like, like for
yeah,
them to see, like, mom is eating healthy, mom is eating vegetables. Like, she's not just telling me to eat broccoli, but she's also eating broccoli,
Right.
yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
hard work
I raised a
too.
teenage boy in a bikini bodybuilding world, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Well, that is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now you're saying that. I never thought about that because, well, I'm raising two girls and they're already like talking about bikini. They want to put on my bikini and my heels. Raising a boy is different, and you
It's
see,
fun. He
yeah,
like the food, the training. He sees it. He sees the dedication. It's really the same. Like he sees
yeah,
how staying dedicated, staying disciplined, going to the gym, what you can achieve. He's gone to my shows. He's seen the guys, he's seen the girl. But it does give him a real respect
Awesome.
for women because he sees how hard
Yes.
it is to like achieve and maintain a physique and how like, building muscle and just like the dedication. So it's just a different perspective,
That's
but it's
awesome.
Yeah.
it's neat.
It's
So
true. My
Oh,
son has
great
grown up with
job.
all my friends compete and we're all in bikinis all the time, so he's totally unfazed by women in bikinis. And my son's competed already. He's 16 and he did a
Oh,
competition.
really?
Yeah, so the whole family is, is interested and supports me in my goal because they've, seen me do it. So I think for, women, like young women growing up and seeing moms be strong and fuel their bodies and learn about nutrition, I think it's so important, and having goals and showing them that you just you
Yeah.
set a goal and you go for it. You're showing them to reach for the stars, and yeah,
I
they've got
love
a great
that.
role
I
model.
love
And
that.
yes,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
amazing. I love that. You both doing a great job. Like I'm
thanks.
just getting started, I did just 2 shows with them, and I know you guys have been doing, like such a big journey with kids. It's not easy, but it's so rewarding.
So
It's
worth
like,
it.
It is.
honestly, it was the best feeling, like getting out of the stage and they are there, they were happy. They kind of like ran toward me, and I'm like, I don't know if I cry or if I laugh, like it's the best feeling. Like, and
Yes,
no matter what happened, they will always be there for you and
Yep.
proud, right?
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. It's so rewarding.
Yeah, so
So
rewarding.
awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this has been just so great to, talk to you as a mom and, what that
Yeah,
experience has been like. It's so different, now on the competition side with a family, and how you're balancing it. And you're such a role model to so many, especially us who've got kids, and seeing you juggle it all. So thank you so much for your insight, and you're
thank you.
just a true icon in the sport in so many ways. And so
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate this time, like having me here. And like I told you guys, like I'm not doing so many podcasts, like there's so many invites, but life is so busy, with all of this that we spoke about. And I was like, you know what, this one I need to do it because, like bikini after babies, it's
You're
so
gonna make me
special for
cry.
me
Me
now.
too.
So yeah.
I'm 3 days out. I'm
I
too
just
emotional. I'm going to cry.
we
My
both are.
gosh.
Thank
And
you
you see,
But
so
like, in both
much.
about to compete and still
Yeah.
here
yeah.
doing the podcast and juggling life. Like, you guys are amazing too. Like, I'm so happy to be part of this community and have this sport.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
much.
Yeah.
Well,
This has been
Thank
awesome.
you.
well, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode today. All of Angelica's information, if you don't already follow her, which you absolutely should be, will be in the show notes below. Angelica, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.